Okay, everyone. I think we're live. Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. Um, it's wonderful to see everyone here for our session. Um, and um, just as a reminder, we have our prayer request document up, and so you can go ahead and start populating um, that as we begin. My intent is to have a longer practice today, so we'll see about that. you know. Um, and Karen, who is on tech hosting, um, will eventually just post some links to whatever I'm doing these days. But welcome. I am currently on um, the ancestral lands of the Nipmuc, Wampanoag, Massachusetts people here in Western Massachusetts, um, where I just finished um, working with a group of practitioners this weekend and am en route to New Hampshire to teach a retreat starting on Wednesday um, at Wonderwell Retreat Center, which is part of Natural Dharma Fellowship, um, which I think some of you practice with as well. And I will probably see some of you in New Hampshire, as I saw some of you this past weekend. And this past weekend, we were practicing Chinrezig, which is a practice that I'll eventually introduce um, more widely after September, after retreat. So anyway, um, welcome everyone just getting into the room. If you would like, just say hello. If you're new, particularly, please say hello, just to see who's here. Questions, you can go into ask a question below on the bottom of your screen. And again, prayers can go into the Google Doc as well. Okay. All right. Yeah, people from all over, from just looking at who's posting, people from all over. That's really wonderful as well. Right. And see what else is happening. Of course, you all have by now, I think, information about the Bhumi Sparsha, our first in person gathering in October. So I think that's been released. If not, that will be coming out very soon. Oh, yeah, if there are any questions I can answer before we begin practicing, I can do that as well before we begin. I have some new practices or just a new organization of these practices that I want to introduce after uh, September. So I want to introduce really some ways to work more deeply with entering the consciousness of Medicine Buddha, and that, of course, that's going through working more deeply with the mantra. I think mantra practice is really, really important, and so I want to just create um, a kind of process where we start really working with the mantra, not necessarily together in this Monday evening space, but just something that um, that we can, kind of do um, together outside Monday nights. It's just like a working with the mantra, and creating, kind of a series of stage progressions around working with the mantra, which is really uh, um, traditional. Um, Working with deities, we really the mantra helps to build up, um, you know, um, a kind of intimacy um, with the consciousness of a deity, right? It's a way, in my experience, it's like it becomes a way for my mind to begin to mingle with the awakened consciousness mind of the deity. Um, so we sometimes call that mantra accumulation, for instance. Um, so that's how you really become intimate. One of the ways you really become intimate with the deity is through really intensive mantra practice as well. So I'm going to introduce this, of course, in October when I get back from retreat, which should be really wonderful. And that will be a part of a lot of the deity practices that I'll introduce going forward, as well. So yeah, I'm excited to see some of you at Natural Dharma up at Wonderwell, either in person or online. I think online is still open for registration, and of course, residential is booked because I only do sold out shows, so that's what happens with that. Southern Dharma coming up in December for those of you who are in and around the Southeast, I guess. And that registration is open as well. And and Karen will be joining me for that retreat. For Wonderwell, Sadada is actually in the room behind me. And Zach will be joining us um, for Wonderwell as well. So, and then I'll be down in DC on the 25th um, as well, um, to giving a short talk for an institute um, um, as well. And I'm sure that link is somewhere. Well, I just kind of show up and teach. I don't know the details. I just know where I have to be, when I have to be, and roughly what I'm talking about. Um, and also, thank you everyone who joined me Friday night for the love in times of the apocalypse, right? Going forward, all of my programming is going to be blank in times of the apocalypse. It seems to be very like topical right now to do something about the apocalypse. Um, all right. So just like a couple more minutes, I want to get started pretty soon with practice. So if there is, again, prayer requests, you can go ahead and add those. And again, this is the prayer request document is a public document, right? So just be mindful, if there's information that would be sensitive, if it was found and whatever, you know. Yeah, Friday was fun. Yeah, Friday was fun. I'm happy to be offering Chandrazig now, um, which is just a different kind of energy practice. And I was working with a smaller group of folks this weekend to kind of launch that practice because it's a little different. That practice Chandrazig is a little different um, practice, and I'll of course offer that this week at Wonderwell as well for folks. And then after that, I'll take it and practice with it more next month when I'm in retreat, and then in October we'll offer it more. I'll probably offer it at the Boomy Sponsor retreat as well. So we'll see. We'll see how it develops. Okay. All right. So another minute. We'll get started in one more minute. Just giving people time to come into the space. Add prayer requests to the doc. So I want to I'm always on like this kind of like tipping, I guess I can call it a tipping point. I'm like, it's this moment or the space where I can go in multiple different directions with the practice. So I'm like, oh, there's something brand new I can do, or do we want to go back to some basics as well? I want to actually, maybe I'll choose the basics for this practice tonight, right? And I just want to continue working with this, with the practice of the essence, right? I'm really just doing all essence practice. Like, what is it? Like, going back to the source from which everything arises, right? Which is, I think, how I understand Buddhism, right? It's going back to the source. What's the source, right? What's the what would we call like the primordial experience of everything? The experience that is not born, the experience that is just basic, you know, going back to the very beginning, as um the Gate mantra, which you find in the Heart Sutra, suggests Gate Gate Parasam Gate Bodhi Soha, which means going beyond, right? It's of course the mantra Prajaparamita, right? This personification of wisdom, which is an expression of the Divine Mother, right? And in Tibetan Buddhism, so Prajaparamita, um, going beyond, going deeper and deeper and deeper, until you lose this idea of there being an end, right? You just keep going, you know, which is part of the Bodhisattva path of liberation and awakening. We want to achieve enlightenment if we are so fixated on trying to finish, right? Which sounds like a contradiction, right? You won't ever get free if you're anxious about getting free. Welcome to Buddhism, right? you know, like you have to let go of your fixation on getting free to get free, right? And this is the spirit of the Gate mantra, right? Going beyond, right? It's like you go to the edge and then you walk off the edge, right? That's it. That's liberation. It's like whatever limit I perceive, I have to go beyond that limit, right? Whatever limit I perceive, I intuitively know I have to go beyond it, right? And that's how we get back to the source. Is how we get back to the essence. Is how we get to awakening, liberation, right? It's to let go, right? It's to shed all these agendas and expectations. Like, it's like sometimes being like taking a trip and you're like, okay, when am I gonna get there? When am I gonna get there? Right? When am I gonna stop? Like you have to actually let go of that on this path. Like you can't keep saying, oh, when am I gonna get free? When blah blah blah. You forget that there is a destination and you just work. You just work, you just do the labor, you just practice and you forget about an end. You just do it. You get lost in the labor, right? And that's the only way you're going to get free because the work of freedom is, is so uh, intense, right? It's easier to say that it's easier to say that liberation is impossible than to say it is possible considering the amount of labor that we have to do to get there. This is why this is so hard, because you look at the path, you're like, okay, this is going to take a while. Yeah, many, 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 many lifetimes, right? But then again, time is a concept, it's an illusion, right? So how long is long, right? So part of the struggle here um, is the illusion of time itself, right? Like we have to also let go of that illusion to really get into the heart of this liberation work, right? Who cares how long it's going to take? I'm just going to do it, right? That's the attitude. I'm just going to do it. No matter what, I'm going to do it, right? But of course, that's easier said than done, right? But whatever it takes, I'm going to do it, right? And it will take multiple, countless lifetimes. So I'm going to do it. Again, this is where the Medicine Buddha Tantra practice comes from. Like Medicine Buddha was a being who just said, okay, no matter how long this takes, I'm going to do it. And the same way with Chenrezig as well. Um, no matter how long this takes, I'm just going to do it, right? Even in our practice now, it's like you just have to let go, of wanting to accomplish anything and just do it, right? And just do the practice, which is, I think, one of the hardest lessons in this tradition, right? It's no matter how bored you are, no matter how disillusioned, no matter how long the path is, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it, right? And to know that there are other beings doing it with you, right? Right, right. Tara, no matter how long this is going to happen, you can say that too. You can definitely say, this is, I will get free. I don't know when, I don't know where or what time, but I will be getting free, right? That's an important aspiration to make. A matter of fact, let's just start there, right? And just your aspiration now, just, in your reflection practice as we begin, like, what does it mean to say that I'm going to get free? And I would even say that all of you have made this vow already to get free, which is why you're here, right? Like this is part of the labor of getting free, this space. You made this many lifetimes ago, this commitment, now this vow. But making it again, like no matter what, no matter how long, I will continue to work to get free, right? I will continue. That this is the most important thing that I could be doing in my life is getting free. Because if you are just like doing the work of getting free, then all this other stuff happens. Like the path of awakening guarantees an awakening of compassion and love and kindness. It guarantees this connection to community, right? It guarantees the awakening of bodhicitta, which is what this is bodhicitta, right? Bodhicitta, which says that I'm going to get awakened to help others get awakened. I'm going to practice because I want to help others, right? It's not just me, right? I'm doing something that's going to have an impact on others. So again, right? What does it feel like just to say I'm going to get free, like I'm going to get free no matter how long it takes. I will get free for myself and for others. I think making that vow for ourselves first is really important. It's like I have to be very sure about what I'm doing, right? I have to be clear about what this project is for myself, right? Whatever I accomplish for myself is the same that I wish to accomplish for others, right? I want to accomplish liberation for myself because I want to accomplish or help free other beings. And that aspiration, that reflection really awakens, other kinds of energies, really, in our experience. You may not know what freedom is, and that's fine, you know. It's the aspiration that becomes a guiding light for us. Like I don't know what's down the path, but I know what's happening now. I know what my aspiration is now. I know what I'm going for now, and that's guiding me in the right direction, right along the path. When we say I'm going to get free, then the universe aligns, it begins to align itself around that freedom. Like if you get clear, that clarity is like a spell, you know, that begins to arrange things. But if you don't have that clarity around getting free, if you don't have that motivation to get free, then nothing's going to shape itself for our freedom. Right? You have to get clear about what you're doing. Right? If you're not clear about what you're doing, then it's easy to get lost in the drama, and the static, and just like the distraction. Right? If I'm not clear about freedom, then I will be very distracted. I will go down paths that look like liberation but are not liberation or not liberatory. Just a couple of moments, just sitting with this aspiration of getting free for myself and for others. A couple more seconds. Okay. So let's continue. And let's continue shifting our attention to the weight of our bodies, making contact with the seat, and feeling the seat rise to hold us as well. So there's a kindness to how the seat is holding us. And I wonder if you can trust this kindness of the seat holding you. And of course, under the seat is the earth. Shifting our attention to touch into the consciousness, the awakened consciousness of the earth. The earth is rising to hold all of us in this moment. It's because of the love of the earth that our lives are sustained. And because we're turning our attention into the earth, we become connected to the earth. We become expressions of the earth as the earth becomes an expression of us. So this is a really important connection here, right? There's no healing without the earth. There's no act of magic, I believe, without the support of the earth. So when I connect to the earth like this, right, the earth becomes this vehicle almost that opens up for me to experience support and grounding and stabilization and so forth. And we offer gratitude down to the earth, right? We thank the earth always, every day, for its kindness and its love. And we can even experiment, try offering to the earth experiences that maybe we're struggling to hold on to for ourselves, maybe offering some of the fatigue, the anxiety, fear, frustration, anger down into the earth. And it's just an energetic releasing. And we're not, again, as we talked about, a couple times before, we're not hurting the earth, right? We're just releasing energy into a massive expression of intelligent energy, right? This energy may be suffering for us, but when we offer it to the earth, it's just energy, right? We're the ones with the complicated, you know, relationship with this energy that we call suffering, right? But when we let it go, it's just energy offered back to energy. It's so the earth becomes as this massive awakened consciousness is like the ocean. When I add my energy to the earth, it's like adding a drop of water back to the ocean, right? That's all it is to the earth. It's important to understand that so much of this labor isn't this excruciating, overwhelming labor, that we think about in terms of getting free, but it's this. It's letting go, it's opening, it's the vulnerability, right? It's the ease, you know, that we're trying to cultivate, right? It's the path of non doing, but it takes so much work to get to the non doing, which is just being. Non doing is just, I'm just going to be, right? I'm just going to be. You don't understand how profound and intense just being is. Like, we don't know what that is because we're so distracted and exhausted from being other than we are, performing. We're just performing these versions of ourselves. But very few of us are just being, right? And when we're just being, we're not engaged in, violence. We're not trying to dominate anyone. Being is this space, this experience of holding everything, right? When I'm at ease, it doesn't mean that things have disappeared. The sadness, the anger is still there. It just means that I'm able to hold it, not to react, but to notice and experience. And the earth can help me do that, right? Because the earth is the the enlightened, like it is the earth is like the expression of holding itself. Like the earth is this act of holding and stabilizing and being that we can take refuge in to support our practice of being. The natural world, and really, you know, the phenomenal world is so many expressions of just being. Things are just as they are, you know? Like this pen is just a pen, right? It's not trying to be anything else, right? And how can we do the same thing for ourselves? I'm just trying to be who I am, which, if we're talking about the essence of who we are, we're Buddhas, awakened beings. So again, returning back to the earth, letting the earth hold us as we let the seat hold us. And so slowly, I invite you to imagine that first the energy of the earth begins to rise up around you, right? And one kind of gesture movement that could be helpful here is just like imagining, just lifting the energy of the earth around you, right? So it's like you're raising the energy, right? Or like you're like scooping, like you're scooping and lifting the energy of the earth, right? It's just a nice way to like a movement to help support, right? This work of like allowing the energy of the earth just to rise around you so the energy of the space begins to change. And just a little bit longer, right? Just raising the earth energy up around you. Right. And so another addition to this practice too is that as you raise the energy of the earth up, you can connect to the experience of discomfort in your body and your mind, and you can imagine actually lowering that energy out of the body down into the earth, right? So you're raising the energy of the earth around you and lowering discomfort out of the body down into the earth. If you want to go a little further, you can add a breath to this. So we're inhaling the energy of the earth up. And as we exhale, exhaling discomfort out of the body down into the earth. Right? So inhaling the energy of the earth up, exhaling discomfort, suffering down to the earth. And as we do this, too, we'll offer our first mantra, Om Minla Sangye Kino Soha, which has already been posted for you in the chat somewhere. I did just see it. But Minla Sangye Kino Soha, Medicine Buddha, I pray that you know and look upon me. Right? So continuing with this practice, lifting in earth energy, lowering suffering down into the earth, and then we begin to chant the mantra a couple of times, which begins to activate particularly the energy of the earth around us, right? And awaken the aspect of medicine Buddha, which is also an expression of the earth as well, right? So let's do that. First, beginning with chanting La Sangye Kino Soha Om La sange ki no so la sange ki no so Inhaling up, energy of the earth. Exhaling down, energy of discomfort. Right? Just a few more times on your own. And I wonder if you can pay attention to how you're noticing energy here. Right? Right? How are you noticing energy? And you can come to a pause whenever you want. And again, working with the breath, moving into a little bit of earth breath up into the heart center, right? So essentially, we're imagining um, inhaling up from the earth into the body, into the heart center. So we're inhaling the energy of the earth up through the body into the heart center, where that energy of the earth begins to collect in the heart center and begins to balance, restore the heart center energy. Um, so inhaling from the earth into the heart, exhaling into the heart center, feeling the awakening of the heart, the opening of the heart center with this energy of the earth. So inhaling from the earth again into the heart, releasing that breath into the heart. Okay, a couple more times. All right. Coming back to a natural breath. And we'll transition now to our main mantra. Deatao Baconze, Maha Baconze, Rasa Sumu, Gate Soha. And just working where we're at right now, right? Just this being. Just want you just to rest within this awakened earth energy in the body, this awakened earth energy around us, seeing and experiencing all of this as the consciousness of Medicine Buddha as well, right? So, Dea Down Bacon say, Maha, Bacon say, Rasa Sumungate Saha. So, like this, I pray for the end of pain and suffering and the root of pain and suffering, right? So that's important. Not only do I want suffering to be disrupted, I want the roots of suffering. If I don't cut out the roots, pull up the roots, then the suffering is going to return, right? So the root of suffering, and I release this energy of this prayer out to all the worlds so that we all may be liberated, right? When we say all the worlds, both the world of the living and the dead, all the dimensions and planes of being, all of the planets and galaxies in the universe, right? All beings, both awakened and not awakened, all beings. As we chant this mantra, we're radiating this blessing, this aspiration, this energy of liberation and healing out to all beings. But it's coming from our personal wish to be free from our suffering as well. First and foremost, really. So feeling the earth, right? Noticing the awakened consciousness of Medicine Buddha, we begin to chant. And letting yourself just float within this chanting, right? Offer yourself to the chanting, offer yourself to the earth, right? Surrender, right? Surrender the anxiety, fear, whatever, the suffering to the earth, to Medicine Buddha, and letting this mantra support that work. All right? Again, Teata Bekenze, Maha Bekenze, Rasa Sunungate Soha. Teata Bekenze, Maha Bekenze, Rasa Sunungate Soha. Teata Bekenze, Maha Bekenze, Rasa Sunungate Soha. Teata bekenze, ma bekenze, raza sumunga tesua. Teata bekenze, ma bekenze, raza sumunga tesua. Teata bekenze, ma bekenze, danza sumo gate sua. Deata bekenze, ma bekenze, danza sumo gate sua. Deata bekenze, ma bekenze, danza sumo gate sua. Deata bekenze, ma bekenze, raza sumo gate soa. 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 Deata beginze, beginze, maha beginze, raza sumo kate soa. Deata beginze, beginze, maha beginze, raza sumo kate soa. Deata beginze, beginze, maha beginze, raza sumo kate soa. Deada beginze, beginze, maha beginze, raza sumo kate soa. Deada beginze, beginze, maha beginze, raza sumo kate soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Deada beginze, beginze, ma beginze, raza sumunga te soa. Let me turn our attention now to our prayer requests. So as is the custom, we call into this space all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Dharma protectors, saints and angels and deities and ancestors who are all dedicated to our liberation, right? All the beings who love us, who care for us, who are also working for us to get free. We invite all these beings into the space, including the earth and all the elements, all the land protectors. And we ask you to listen to these prayers as we offer these prayers, and we ask you to work on our behalf to bring about the fruition of what we're praying for and asking for. So we're offering prayers for Aurora, who suffers from an anxiety disorder due to trauma, and prayers for B, who is seeking treatment for a cankerous mass in her kidney, for Nasir, Rachel, and the children. Offering prayers for Pachamama, prayers for inner child. May she return and rest to safety, love, and source. Offering prayers for all those separated from beings or places that they love. Prayers for all of us trying to get free. Offering prayers for Bev as she deals with serious skin cancer, her friend's death, and her daughter's breast cancer treatment. Offering prayers for Linda and Skip, who have been so generous to me. Offering prayers for Barry as he prepares for hip surgery. Offering prayers for myself to stay grounded as I care for my son and practice self-care and continue to grow. Offering prayers for Imelda, her health and peace. Prayers for her family as they try to hold her through this difficult time. Offering prayers for my sisters and mom and I, caring for my mom with dementia, age 90. Offering prayers for my sister battling alcoholism and me with mobility issues and panic attacks. Offering prayers for my friend Maida, who recently lost one of her twin sons after childbirth, her partner, their other kids and family, for all in my community and elsewhere battling painful and challenging transitions of identity and relationship, for myself coming to terms with needing to release heavy and heartbreaking burdens and all that cannot be controlled. And offering prayers for my quick recovery from respiratory illness and prayers for Cecilia, who is recovering from a stroke, and her daughters who are caring for her. Prayers are requested for an important meeting that I have tomorrow with the deans of my school that will decide my future in teaching for the next year. May the whiteness and privilege present be softened with awareness so that as a woman of color, I do not feel assaulted, but rather may I feel supported and be able to stand in my dignity and worth, feeling all of my benefactors at my back. Prayers for my grandfather, who is living with congestive heart failure. Prayers for my grandmother and her adult children as they support and care for him. Prayers for my cousin Rosaline as she awaits a high-risk surgery for nerve pain. Offering prayers for my neurodivergent queer daughter entering high school as she gains social confidence and solid friendships. Offering prayers that my benefactor circle helps me in keeping my heart open so I can be support to others. Offering prayers to my overwhelmed sister whose husband is declining with Alzheimer's and that she gets support from her husband's siblings. Offering prayers for all those experiencing disconnection and loneliness. May we remember that we are being cared for and held. For my sister's health, happiness, and clarity of mind. Offering prayers for my moving home smoothly and skillfully, for the energy, focus, and support for the planning, packing, moving, and processes, and setting up a new beautiful home for my family and loved ones. Offering prayers for Crown as she goes through cancer treatment. Offering prayers for my son's learning, his confidence, his passion, creativity, and enthusiasm for life, that he may navigate all the worlds he is growing up in. Prayers for new adventures in old relationships and new ways of being in a relationship, for the suffering of all creatures to end. Prayers for my great niece as she makes her way into the bardo. May her path be easy, and prayers for her daughter and mother who are grieving. Prayers for myself as I have colonoscopy this week and an MRI next week, and anxiously await for the results. Prayers for my transgender child who is struggling with loneliness and depression. Prayers for BR and BR's brother who is recuperating from bladder cancer surgery. Prayers for Kathleen, who recently entered the bardo. May her journey be swift and swiftly completed. Prayers for M and M's mother, who recently entered the bardo. Prayers for L for healing from nerve damage around the face and neck. Prayers for M for gallbladder healing and depression. We're offering prayers for my mother, Linda, who's angry and frightened about losing her ability to walk and needing to use a wheelchair that scares her. We're offering prayers for YMS, who was attacked a year ago and feeling betrayed and angry, abandoned her spiritual practices. May she release the trauma that is caught in her body and find her way more fully back to herself. Offering prayers for BY, who took their own life 3 years ago this week, and their mother who lives on without them. Prayers for the medicine keepers of the indigenous tribes who continue to hold Pachamama. Offering prayers for my ability to be with what arises as I walk through the challenge of prescription medication changes. Prayers for my friend Amy as her mother enters hospice. For my friend Beth, whose mother may need heart valve replacement surgery. For my friend Ava, with multiple health challenges and losses of dear friends. For my children and their children. For Thom dealing with cancer and big move. For a fully functioning need to be able to return to long walks in nature. Prayers for Afghani women and girls suffering immeasurably under the Taliban rule. And for the people of Afghanistan, 90% of whom don't have enough to eat. Today is the 1-year anniversary of the Taliban taking over. Prayers for Jim Jarvis, wandering the bardo after a lifetime of addiction and confusion. I offer prayers for Daniel, that all obstacles around what they're going through is resolved. I continue to offer prayers for my sister who is pregnant, that all obstacles are removed for safe development and delivery. And I continue to offer prayers for all beings struggling to be well right now, for all beings still struggling through various illnesses, including COVID and monkeypox and polio and many others. I continue to pray for the disruption of all systems of violence that perpetuates suffering for so many of us. I pray for the liberation of all beings, the liberation of all of phenomenal reality. I pray for the liberation of the earth and all the elements and all beings who are bound to the earth. May they be released as quickly as possible to continue their journey towards awakening. May we all achieve liberation as quickly as possible. And we return back to our mantra practice. As we continue our mantra, just imagining the energy of the mantra beginning to radiate out and infuse into the prayers that we've just offered. That becomes fuel for the beings we've invited, the Buddhas and awakened beings and so forth, so they can continue to act on our behalf to bring about the fulfillment of our prayers. Just being, radiating the deep liberatory power of the mantra as an expression of Medicine Buddhist consciousness, radiating out everything into the world so everything changes and comes back into balance. We begin again. O Deata Begenze, Begenze, Ma Begenze, Raza Sumo Yate Soa. Deata Begenze, Begenze, Ma Begenze, Raza Sumo Yate Soa. Deada Begenze, Begenze, Ma Begenze, Raza Sumungate 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 Soa. Deada Begenze, Begenze, Mahabegenze, Razasumunga Soa. Deyada, 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 Begenze, Begenze, Mahabegenze, Razasumunga Soa. All right, returning our attention back to the seat. Noticing the weight of the body, making contact with the seat, and the seat rising to hold us. We turn our attention to the mother, to Mother Durga, Durga Ma. Dum Durgaye Namaha. Salutations, homage to she who is beautiful to the seeker of truth and terrible to in appearance to those who injure devotees of the truth. And in the same ways, we begin to chant to the mother, in this case for healing, but also for protection. We feel the essence, the consciousness of the mother rising also from the earth around us, creating this barrier of protection. And as we chant, we also are praying to her that she also protects those who are closest to us, those we worry about the most, that she protects them as well. In the same way that we are asking her to protect us. We begin with Om. Dum Durgaye Namaha. Dum Durgaye Namaha. Dum Durgaye Namaha. Dum Durgaye Om Dum Daye Namaha. 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 And may it be so that all of our prayers are answered, that the Mother protects us, and that Medicine Buddha deepens our healing. We turn our attention now to our closing prayer, Shantideva's prayer from the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. Which we'll recite 3 times together. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector for those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures. And until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. Thank you so much for your practice. And before we go, I'm just going to look at this question. Since time is a construct, can't we honestly say that we are free? We are free. Yeah, we're already free. That is the premise of Buddhism, of Dharma, that like we're already free. We just forgot we are. Like we've gotten lulled into this illusion, and for whatever reason, or how that happened, we forgot who we are. We started paying attention to the illusion. We start paying more attention to the illusion than to who we are really, and what practice is doing is reminding us of who we are. You know, um, and that's important to start with. This is why you say, "I am free," right? I'm already free. I am just in the process of remembering that, and that's what the Dharma path is just remembering who we are. Um, yeah. Yeah, I think that's it for our time together. Thank you all um, for your practice, and I will see some of you in a couple of days in Wonderworld, either online for the retreat or in person as well. Um, so thank you all very much, and I will